Play a clip. And by the way, now he's on a mission to ruin April's name. This ain't good. This ain't good.
The show. Oh yeah, what did I go? Keanu says you're a piece of shit and you're garbage and you're worse than coke addicts because they never lie.
Keanu, you see what he always does? I guess I'm the worst guy in the world. I guess I'm Hitler. I guess I'm just the worst piece of shit that ever existed. Again, he always so dramatic. I guess you guys want me to kill myself. No, you're just a guy who hit his wife. There's millions of them. You're not the worst one. You're not the best one. Some guys have done less than you, and some guys do more than you every day. So grow up. It's not the end of the world. Something happened. You're trying to fucking... Again, the more you keep fighting this, it's like, Jesus Christ, what else is there? What don't we know about? So this thing where you're like, yeah, I guess you're way worse than coke addicts and drug whores. No, stop. April being a piece of shit doesn't mean you didn't hit her. Nick having cocaine in his house doesn't mean you didn't hit April. No one's trying to compare the two. Oh, yeah, well, who's worse? A guy who hit his wife or a guy? I mean, the fact he's doing this is nuts. Oh, yeah, I'm worse than people who brought cocaine around their kids. No one said that. Matter of fact, impossible to equate the two. Both of them very wrong. All he did today was try to smear other people's reputations. But yours is so far diminished that no one believes you anymore, Moopy. No one believes you. Every version of every story you tell comes out fucking wrong and twisted. And you can say whatever you want. Did I post an incorrect false Facebook message? Yes. Again, go look at it. Right afterwards, I said, no, this is fake. I came on my show that day and immediately announced it's fake. I'm not really... Look, it was fun because it made you spurg out. But I'm not really here to mislead people. If you didn't hit your wife, you didn't hit your wife. I can't make something be that isn't. April says you did. April seems to still be saying that you did. Again, she could very easily pass along word through Kiki that this didn't happen. She seems to have done the opposite. And said that happened and probably more. There's probably more there. I don't know.
All right. I'll play that one. Let's see if he turns on me.
We'll get to DARVO when we get to today's show. Calm down, Moody. You're not the producer.
Come on, Frank. Be there, baby. Will play us out, as Bill O'Reilly says.
Hey, to all listeners of the Steel Toe podcast, I'm showing you the Sydney Boardwalk. To all listeners...
Look at him just escaping to his phone.
Listeners of the Steel Toe podcast. Here's the cardboard cutout of Frank down to the all listeners
of the Steel Toe show. Oh my God, Frankie's got a fucking cardboard cutout.
Here's the chill zone in Sydney, Nova Scotia to all the listeners of the Steel Toe podcast.
Look at him. He doesn't get this excited about his own children. Look at him.
Fuck that.
Here's the boardwalk in Sydney.
Fuck that. I'm stealing Frankie.
I know you think that. I already called that. Yeah, anything he can do to hurt you now, Gino, he will. He can't do shit. He's a fucking loser. Anything he can do to fuck over Kiki. These were his friends a minute ago. This is an unattractive thing I saw when Bob Levy and Kevin Brennan. These people were your friends a minute ago. So you want to ask me now who I'd rather be friends with? Kiki or Aaron? Kiki. What's her crime? What's her actual crime? Being too nice and keeping her mouth shut for too long? The problem is when it's a guy like this, it's dangerous. Like standing by his side through all this, you helped him more than you know. You helped him make money. The fact that he didn't pay you is crazy. You know. But when you keep your mouth shut about a guy like this and you let him stand right next to you and say all this shit, even though you don't explicitly repeat it, you sign off on all of it. And I think you found that out. April, you're standing behind him while he talks shit about April every day. So even though you're not saying it, you're on his show having his back. And April is an abused woman. Psychologically, again, imagine living with this guy. Imagine living with this motherfucker. The mind fuck, the constant mind fucks and twists and turns and lies and gaslighting and bullshit. It's got to be insane. It's got to be nuts. And then today happened. Today's show is called Does This Knife Belong to You?
I love that CM Punk line to start the show. I may drop it in regularly. The one true, genuine article in a business full of counterfeit bucks.
So setting the stage early. Guess what, guys? I thought Keanu and Gino were real ones. But they're not. They're not. They're fake. Just like Melton and Mersch. I thought Mersch was a real one. Turns out he's fake. Just like Adrian and everyone else who's ever wronged me. Anyone who thinks he's not on the up and up is a internet phony.
I like it. It's good. It speaks a lot without saying too much, which unfortunately is the opposite of me as we embark on a 4-hour journey together this morning. Boy, I tell you what, I know a lot of people are tuning in and they're licking their chops and they're wondering, oh boy, how's this guy going to fire back and just torch everybody and blah, 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 blah. When it comes to Gino and Keanu, I will tell you right now, you may be disappointed. I'm going to high road this one.
What follows is 4.5 hours of the most insane crumbling of a man I've ever seen in my life. What plays out from this point forward on this show is one of the saddest, most pathetic things I've ever witnessed on the internet. The journey, the mental gymnastics, the cope. These words are thrown around. They're overused, especially when it comes to this guy. It's constant. We always see it. We're not even surprised anymore. He's taking the high road. If you came here for drama, you're going to be disappointed. Ride this roller coaster with me, will you? I'm looking forward to it. Teddy, is Stevie versus Ray feud of the year Dab verse award? Huh? Gonzo, missing goals, hitting wives, and ruining lives. Toes up.
Patrick, I got a call from Aaron Socto asking for advice about dealing with you, and we have decided to get a sneeze and persist order against you. Stop dialoguing on your cringe content to today's society. Don't streamline us on your link system.
Yes, I'll stop doing that.
That's right, Salsa Man. Mess with the toe, you get the nail. Fuck. I am Mooby.
Keith J, 73 member for 13 months. Bob Levy yelling at him a couple of years ago. Oh yeah, remember that? The Aussie guy, 12 months, checking in. Before April contacted Keanu, Mr. Dimdolt denied that April had called Louis a retard. But now that he's back in discredit mode, it's true. Yeah, there's a couple things that tie into this. But yes, before April contacted Keanu, Mr. Imholte denied April called Louis a retard. But now that he needs to discredit April and get ahead of what other allegations may be coming, April called his son a retard. And again, the kid's a retard. Go look at every photo of him. I'm sorry. The kid switched off. The kid's not there. The kid's retarded. And how could he be? I mean, look, I'm sure none of his boys are strong swimmers. Look, I don't have time to get into the inner workings of the ball bag of Captain Imholte here. But the point is, his boy's retarded. Godspeed. Okay? Okay. That's where we're at with that. I wanted to say, real quick. No, I guess we don't need to do that. All right, here we go.
I'm not going to take a flamethrower to anyone. I'm not going to exact my vengeance.
Exact my vengeance. Give it a minute.
Because I know what happened. And it's not, unfortunately, I know they're not going to like to hear this. It's not unlike what happened to me for months and months and months.
Okay. So what he's saying here is, April got a hold of them, and now April has turned them. April has turned them. And shout out to Moody for this, just so we can go through it. DARVO. He was a little quick on the trigger for me. DARVO. What he's doing here has a textbook name. DARVO. DARVO is an acronym for deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender. It is a reaction that perpetrators of wrongdoing, such as sexual offenders, may display in response to being held accountable for their behavior. Some researchers indicate that it is a common manipulation strategy of psychological abusers. As the acronym suggests, the common steps involved are 1, the abuser denies the abuse ever took place. Number 2, when confronted with the evidence, the abuser then attacks the person that is or was being abused, and or the person's family or friends, for attempting to hold the abuser accountable for their actions. And finally, the abuser claims that they were actually the victim in the situation, thus reversing the positions of victim and offender. It often involves not just playing the victim, but also victim blaming. The acronym and analysis is based on the work of psychologist Jennifer Freyd. Usage and effectiveness. DARVO is frequently used and effective to the number of people who are inclined to believe that DARVO's response decreases once they understand the tactic. However, the examination and determination of one of who is using DARVO proves to be difficult until the abuser and victim in a case are clearly established. So this is what, I mean, again, a little credit to Kiki for this. You don't even know what's going on because this guy's lying to you so much about what's going on. This is classic. There's a name for it. Deny, attack, and then make yourself a victim. And this is what he's done in every situation. Constantly. We saw that April and Ashley got along fine. When he tells you the story, and then, by the way, we see him interjecting himself, demanding that if they don't do things his way, he'll take them to mediation. He'll take her to court. But when he tells you the story, Ashley and April were difficult and could never get along. We've seen the communication. We know that's not true. We know that's not true. So you don't know who's a victim anymore. He makes himself a victim in every situation. It gets, why did that switch over to that? What were we on? I just want to put that out there. So right now you're watching him get this idea that he's a victim, and now he's going to try to convince you that Gino and Kiki have been compromised by April.
I get it. People can be persuasive. Funny thing is, I never tried to be persuasive.
He's never tried to be persuasive. A bigger lie has never been told.
I always openly said, don't take sides.
While forcing them to take sides.
I openly said, que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. Moving onward and upward.
What is. You can't move on from it. You hit a bitch. You don't get to decide when you get to move on from abuse. What world are you in? This isn't optional. It's like telling a cop when he pulls you over for drunk driving, you're almost home. You're not. You're not free to leave. You're being detained. Your Honor, I'm just trying to move onward and upward. We can keep revisiting these rapes all we want.
Oh, well. I will say I do believe that somebody who's facing legal charges right now had something to do, or at least pointed someone in the right direction to
So again, he's accusing Nick Rekieta of helping April
leak that document.
to leak these documents. He's accusing April of leaking these documents.
To get at me. And I think that's a real scumbag move.
So the scumbag move was April releasing documents that show that she was physically abused by her husband. The scumbag move is the releasing of those documents, not the physical abuse of his wife. Again, we could sit here and argue all we want about fruit of the poison tree. Well, those documents came from a vengeful person with an axe to grind. Yes, and they show you beat your wife. Yes, but that was 2.5 years ago. Right, but you physically abused your wife. Right, but April lied in the past about a lot of stuff. Right. It's just that you physically abused your wife, though. Right, but April, it's like, yeah, all that and, dog. You're the king of whataboutism. We know. The Reketas are shit. April's shit. You're also shit, is what we're trying to say.
But like I said this week, watching other people get more desperate or more sad or less successful doesn't help me, doesn't improve my life at all. So I do have my suspicions. I knew it was you, Fredo. You broke my heart. What are you going to do? Because it did have the intended effect. It does come together like a perfect symphony. I will say that, but it's
a very simple symphony. We saw text messages from April that said you abused her. End of symphony. You know, keep trying to compliment it, Mooby. Keep trying to compliment it, you Gumby-armed bitch. It's so simple. It's so simple. Your wife of 1 year said you physically abused her, and she confided that into your ex-wife, who wasn't surprised by it, and then shared her stories about why you're also a, quote, monster who's probably hopeless, forever loving anyone else besides himself. It's a very simple symphony.
Because, you know, it's funny. Both of the documents didn't come out. Just the one and just the cherry-picked parts that made me look terrible.
So the other document came out. I got it into my possession tonight. Emailed to me. Thank you. I don't say names unless you want it. We went through it. Moody went through it more thoroughly than I did. It's the same HRO. There's nothing in there that makes Aaron look good. Aaron did this thing where he's like, and by the way, I'll post this on the Discord, or Moody, you can feel free to post that on the Discord in the Steel Toe channel. Discord.gg/NLO. Discord.gg/NLO. Come hang out and talk about the nerds. There's nothing in there. It wasn't even worth going over tonight. It wasn't even worth going over. It's the same restraining order. April's not allowed to drive the children. There were some other things. They weren't able to serve her with it until after she was arrested. They couldn't find her with the Reketas, et cetera, et cetera. So there's not really anything to go over. But Mooby makes it sound like there was something in there that would like redeem him. There's not. And again, I'd go over it to prove that, but we don't have the time, and we'll put it. I'll tweet it out. as well. Charlie says, Discord people terrify me. You don't have to be scared over ours. We're very cool. We're very cool. Last Dabbler Stanley, as a truck driver working midnights, this is getting me through my night. Thank you, man. Appreciate the $5. We get $3.50 of that.
Right.
Not the one of someone calling a little boy a retard.
So here it is. Here's him admitting April called his son a retard. And again, this poor fucking kid. This Louis Imholte. Oof.
Didn't come out. Just the one and just the cherry-picked parts that made me look terrible.
Right.
Not the one of someone calling a little boy a retard. That part didn't come out.
It's so funny because he was like 5 at the time. Just calling him a fucking retard. Calling this fucking mentally diminished kid a retard.
We didn't get that document where a woman called a small boy a retard.
Your boy's a retard. I'm calling your boy a retard. That's not a crime, fag. Your boy's a retard. Your boy's a retard. Even his forever mommy knew that.
Or the clips and everything of somebody talking about masturbating while somebody else dies. We didn't get that part.
Yes, we did. What's great, this is great. If you don't know what he's talking about here, it's a lot to unpack. There was a show a while back. It's part of the HRO. We went through it. We actually read it. It was in the documents. This is a couple weeks back. You can go find it. Where they did a show where April fantasized about Ashley dying, and it would take care of a lot of her problems. And she said that she would probably come to that. And she said that she would allow Aaron to fuck another member of the chat, a woman who wanted to fuck Aaron. She said, if you kill Ashley LaRue for me, Aaron's kid's mother, then I would let you fuck Aaron. And I would probably watch you fuck Aaron and masturbate at the thought of you killing the children's mother. This is a real conversation that actually happened on the show. March 24th, I believe, maybe 26th. It's available. It's up. We saw it. It was in the court documents. Aaron addressed this last week. This is what's insane. Wait to hear this. Last week, Aaron mentioned this, was in the court documents, and said that never happened. This happened 1 week ago. He acknowledged it was in the documents and that it never happened. Okay? Today, he's not only saying it did happen, he's using it to say what a piece of shit April is. And he's saying we didn't get to see that part. We did. We did get to see it. And now you're saying it did happen, and now you're saying April's a piece of shit for doing it. It's wild. It's wild. This guy can't keep up. You know, Carl asked me today, it was just like, do you think he doesn't remember that was in the document? And I go, I do. I think his brain is it's like a commercial blender of facts and nonsense he wishes were true. And he really loses touch sometime. So when April got in trouble from Ashley, he protected April and said April never called him a retard. Now that he needs April to be discredited, April called my son a retard. April called my retarded son a retard. Last week, when he needed to make this HRO sound like bullshit, that never happened. We never talked about fucking and masturbating to Ashley being killed. This week he needs to discredit April. So, plus, remember when she talked about masturbating to my children's mother being murdered? Yeah, you too, though. You too. You were both gonna come.
Because that might be damaging or devastating. But don't worry, I'm the sociopath. I'm the manipulator.
Yeah, again, no one. You're not on trial for manipulating. That's not against the law. You're not on trial for being a sociopath. Focus. This is what he wants. He wants me arguing about whether or not he talked about masturbating to killing his wife. He wants me arguing about whether or not April called his retarded son a retard. Yeah, all that, and you hit your wife. Focus. Right, but I'm the manipulator. No, you're the abuser. You're the physical abuser of your wife. There's one accusation. There's one. So I'm Hitler. I'm the devil. I'm the worst guy ever. No. You beat your wife. You choke your wife. You're an abuser. That's the allegation. Watch him today. This goes everywhere. This goes everywhere.
I understand. I got it. It's just, it's to make another Godfather 2 reference. It's Michael Corleone finally figuring out how it all came together against him.
And Moody made a great point. Michael Corleone's the guy who fucked over his whole family and died alone. That's you? Got it. I mean, what a fucking reference.
But I will say this. It worked on me for a while.
We were all under April's spell. How come you never mentioned how great April was at manipulating everybody before? How come this just came out? How come this just now leaked? April's actually a narcissistic cult leader. Huh.
So I can't blame anyone else for falling for it. Shit, man, I fucking watch. I lived in a world, and I'll tell you this, addicts can be convincing, and addicts can play great victims. And
look at his language. Look at the body language. Look how defensive he is.
And I had to live through it. But if you're a guy and you're 6'4" and you're a big, loud, brash guy, if you say you were psychologically abused, everyone can just blow past that. They can brush past that. That doesn't matter.
Okay, I actually agree with him a little bit here. I've been in some relationships with some women who are batshit crazy, and nobody believes it because you're the big. Like, I'm a 6'5", 300-pound, physically imposing guy. Nobody would ever believe I wasn't the one beating the fuck out of the way. I'm a teddy bear. I'm a nice man. The deflection here. But, you know, when I'm a 6'4" guy, nobody's going to believe that I was psychologically manipulated. Again, we do. I believe that. I'm asking if you hit April. He can't focus on anything. He's like, yeah, I might have beat April, but that was a long time ago. Yeah, I might have beat April, but she psychologically abused me. Yeah, I might have beat April, but everything, just look over here, look over there. Everyone else was speeding too, officer.
That doesn't happen. But if one person who, when it fits their PR profile, can come out and allege things, well, then it's, well, I mean, Jesus, it's beyond reproach.
So another giant lie and misdirection here. Another giant lie and misdirection. Listen to what he wants you to think. You got to really listen to this because of what he's doing. He goes, oh, now that it's convenient and fits her PR profile, she's coming out and alleging abuse. This was alleged almost 2 years ago. Almost 2 years ago. She was 1 year into a marriage with you. This was 2022. She's not coming out with it now because it's convenient to hurt you. She alleged this in 2022. He's distracting you. Oh, you're going to believe her now? Of course she's mad after the divorce. Nope, this document is from 2022. This came out before she was mad. This came out years before she left your side on a radio show. This came out years before your divorce. Stop letting him do this. He just keeps, he changes. He's like Trump. He just keeps making you focus on different shit so much you can't even tell what's real anymore.
Someone with an axe to grind and a problem, who might be, who might be second guessing some shit.
Right. So the reason this text came out from 2022 is because she has an axe to grind and a problem. The reason she alleged abuse in 2022 is because of her 2024 divorce and arrest. Uh-huh.
Then okay. Well, look, I'll just say that I'll say this.
Right. He's arguing she's been playing 4D chess. Right.
I lived through a time where I watched people do drugs and they told me they weren't.
You told your friends you weren't doing drugs. We watched a show just a couple days ago of you telling everyone, including Johnny next to you and all your other friends, that you don't do drugs. I've done cocaine one time in my life at a buddy's wedding. And then I almost choked him out and killed him. If you remember the story correctly. We talked about it. April had my back. You tell everyone lies all the time. Imagine believing this idiot. What a fucking... He doesn't even get it either. He's like...
Lived through a time where I watched people do drugs and they told me they weren't.
Yeah, Keanu lived through that too. Keanu lived through a time where you told her you weren't swinging and you were. And then she lived through a time where you told her that April was fine. Or, sorry, didn't tell her April wasn't fine. Which, when you're looking out for your wife or your good friend's well-being, that's not something you do. That's not something you do. We're still way ahead for April having some sort of financial recourse here. I think that'd be great. I think it'd be really great. Gonzo, how many non-ironic Steel Toe fans do you think there are? There's so many of them just fucking with him. It's like Stuttering John, you know? So it's hard to say. Like, he gets so many messages of support and stuff that are just bullshit, blowing smoke up his ass. Because, again, a confident movie is the funniest movie. A confident Chad is the funniest Chad. When Chad thinks he's killing it in his loser apartment, it's one of the funniest things you could ever watch.
I watched people fucking do it. I watched people all day long. I watched them do it. Or
again, what does this have to do with you abusing your wife? No, but April did drugs. I don't think you guys understand. It's like, yeah, she's paying for that. Did you beat your wife?
heard them do it. And then at another time when I would confront them and say,
look at Johnny. Like, how long till Johnny's out of here?
This has to stop. It's either this goes or I go. It was, you're a monster. You're a piece of shit. You're lying about me. I'm not doing this. I fucking watched it all. And if you don't think that fucking destroys your psyche, and if you don't think that absolutely tears you down as a human being, I pray to God you've never got to go through it.
I don't care.
That level of psychological abuse.
I don't care. Everybody,
fuck, man, you could headbutt me in the dick 400 fucking times a day.
Did you hear that? Listen to this. This is the kind of shit that sends shivers down caseworkers' spines. Listen to this statement. I got chills.
Got to go through it yourself. That level of psychological abuse, fuck, man, you could headbutt me in the dick 400 fucking times a day.
What is he doing? You know, the first answer to it was, that was a long time ago. The second answer was, that's not the way it happened. The third answer is, dude, the psychological abuse she put me through, I should have been able to headbutt her 1,000,000 times. Not since I heard Diaz Mackey be accused of rape and then say, I wish I had raped a bitch if she was going to tell everybody, have I gone, yikes. Yikes. Did you? I don't think you meant to say that out loud. He's saying no amount of physical abuse exacted by a person could make up for the level of psychological abuse April put him through. Again, he denies he ever did that, but he keeps bringing it up and making the comparison. He keeps telling you how long ago the thing was that didn't happen. Think about it. How does that work? Why would he keep telling you how long ago a thing was? If it didn't happen, it doesn't even matter. And now he's telling you that the psychological damage she did to him is worse than 400 headbutts. Listen to the statement.
You've never got to go through it yourself. That level of psychological abuse, fuck, man, you could headbutt me in the dick 400 fucking times a day. I'd take that. And I confided in people about that, and they used it against me.
No. Keanu said you told her your how it went down and she didn't buy your bullshit. She's not using it against you. She doesn't believe you. The only way that people are using stuff against you is if they believe you. She asked you for an explanation. Did you hit her friend? You gave her an explanation. This is all in Keanu's show, by the way. I'm not just talking shit. You gave her an explanation, and then she said, I didn't buy it. I didn't buy it. And she said, I think he did it. She said, I think he did it. And if not exactly that, then something else. He did something. She seems to imply that April has told her this. And again, she hasn't said that. But she seems to imply it's not going to be a win for the toe.
I never saw. I'll say this. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I have a hard time conceiving betrayal.
Anyone who doesn't go with him is betraying him. I wore your t-shirt. I always say you're great. I always say it's sad when the Viscontes leave.
To watch it happen in real time is remarkable. It's remarkable.
Woo!
You said the secret word.
Again, I watched it happen.
So what? He watched somebody use drugs and lie? Great. Who said you didn't? Why are we talking about this? Oh, so we don't talk about the allegations that you physically abused your wife.
If there's going, last night there was a character judgment made on me about someone that I'm worse than someone else.
By the way, he's vibrating out of his seat today. He's shitting himself.
Made on me about someone that I'm worse than someone else.
Look at that leg. I mean, this is his life now. Sucking back energy drinks and wondering when they're coming for him.
I'll tell you this. At noon today, Johnny, do you know who I'm picking up?
My broken children. My daughters, and the one of which we will not speak.
Who?
My children.
Okay.
Just pointing that out.
I'm assuming the other person isn't.
No, the other person's too busy trying to convince the world they didn't do drugs that they did and stalling getting their children back.
And again, this is all very relevant to the allegations that you physically abused your wife. No one's saying you're not allowed to see your kids. We're alleging that you physically abused your wife. He wants you to forget this. He really wants you to forget.
But let's believe them.
Let's talk about the church who noticed the dirty kids' clothes. Why? That's all old, and those people, they're answering for all that. You know? Whatever happened to answering for your shit?
That's fine. Men can't be abused. That's what I've learned by all this. Everything I went through, everything I tried to stop, everything I tried to talk about, I guess it's like April always said when I would bring this up. You're just a pussy.
Ooh. And again, we're getting behind the scenes here. Look how insecure he is. My wife always used to call me a pussy. My wife used to always call me a pussy. Also, quick question. What does any of this have to do with you beating your wife?
Oh, you're just too sensitive. Okay. Yeah, your pain, when you're a guy, remember, guys, your pain doesn't count.
It counts. We're asking if April's counts. We'll get to your case in a minute. Sorry, there was another one ahead of you. The case of did Aaron Imholte beat the fuck out of his wife? Care to comment? Or do you want to talk about a charcuterie fridge? Remember how fun it was when you were spilling the details on everybody else's shit? Ah!